Not well. No, I'm just tired. Like I just sound like I've got a raspy voice. I've been talking too much. But yeah, I'm like I'm not a detransitioner. I never went down the medical pathway or anything. I never really identified as the opposite sex, although I did have a period when I was like 6 or 7 when I would kind of like pretend to be a boy. It was more like a game, you know. It was an extension of the fact that I like to play the dad when I played house with my friend, and like I had short hair and I had 2 older brothers and I just wanted to fit in with them. I'm pretty peeved off that my live stream about Robert White was like completely deleted. I never downloaded it and saved it. So if anybody has a backed up version of that, that'd be awesome if you could send it to me, because maybe I could re-upload it in segments. Because I just kind of went through a bunch of clips that I found of Robert's videos and, you know, just said my opinion, which is that I think that he is also a predator and, you know, uses women's spaces, and not unlike David Hayton, basically does it under the guise of, but I know I'm a man. And it's like, yeah, but that makes it even worse because you're knowingly crossing women's boundaries, even though we've vehemently stated no. And you're trying to put up themselves as like the one exception. You know, we can just let them use the bathrooms and stuff because they're on our side. No, I don't dig that. I don't vibe with that whole idea. Pip Pip Cheerio. Yeah, mate. The problem I have with Arielle is that she is a pornographer. She has an OnlyFans account and she makes porn and she's pro porn. I'm a porn abolitionist. I don't approve of women, especially women with young, impressionable audiences, promoting porn as if it's an actual career option. If you want me to respect the law, make the law respectable. So basically, if you're scared about being outed as a TERF, imagine what it was like to be outed as a suffragette in the early 20th century. We have it easy, like compared to them. And I'm sick to death of all these women who can't understand that, you know, and can't understand that in order for things to change and be better for everyone, some people will have to sacrifice some things, like those friends that you barely talk to anymore, or that job that you don't even really like anyways. It just pays the bills and you could find another one. You know, like we need to realize that, you know, like I've made plenty of sacrifices joining this, especially the friends and the relationships with people I used to be close with. But fact of the matter is, I don't care. It doesn't seem like it's really that much of a sacrifice for keeping the rights that these women sacrificed way more than me to obtain for me before I was even born. Women are purposefully kept ignorant and purposely kept from each other so that we won't raise our consciousness and fight against oppression as a united sex class. Is suffering another word for suffragette? No, suffrage was the fight for women's right to vote. And so they were suffragists, but suffragette was actually a slur for a woman who fought for women's suffrage. They actually used to draw political cartoons, making women look really ugly and old and crotchety and all that kind of stuff, and called them suffragettes. So they ended up co-opting that slur and owning it. Remind you of anybody? The fact that people think that they're actually doing anything by like tweeting like trans women are women, like, do you think you're actually promoting any social change by just repeating a mantra and a lie over and over again? It's a religious right. It's like it's them worshiping. When they say trans women are women, it's them saying God is great. It's quite difficult to find someone who's extreme enough to actually argue for this stuff. Like, that's a cultist. You know, there's a difference between people who don't really know and they just want to be nice and they're just ignorant because, you know, the mainstream media doesn't report on things and they don't feel the need to dive deeper because they've got busy lives and other things that they care about. And then once you just tell them a little bit, they're like, wait, no, that's happening. And you're like, yeah. And they're like, no way, you know, and they don't agree with it and they think it's awful, but they just didn't know. Like, they're keeping normies in the dark for a reason. When the women's rights movement is taken over by narcissistic men with an ideology fetish, then we've fallen off track. That's correct, Gloomy. I also just got a message, well, I got it a while ago, I think, but I just read it today on my Facebook page from a dominatrix, a woman who used to, she's no longer doing it, but she used to be a dominatrix for over 10 years. And she said that the #1 fetish that men had was cross-dressing. #1. Very consistently, the men fetishized cross-dressing. So she said it's like one of the most common things ever. Garden variety cross-dresser fetishizing man, you know. Yeah, so many YouTubers are pro-trans because they want monetization and money, and they know that if they say anything, they'll lose their account, because that's what happened to me, and that's what happened to many other women that spoke out. I think men are okay. Men can kind of speak out, you know, like Abba and Preach and Ben Shapiro and like all these men that have massive platforms. They're fine. But if you're a woman and you try to speak out on YouTube, yeah, your channel's going to get erased. Yeah, definitely. TikTok is just a way to get children to produce softcore porn, including themselves in it, for pedophiles' entertainment. That's what I believe. I don't even think TikTok is a Chinese spyware thing. I think it's just like all of the trends exist so that children will dance to sexually explicit songs in a sexually explicit way for the entertainment of pedophiles. That's what I believe. So I think a lot of people really peaked when they saw the J.K. Rowling thing, because they were like, it's just her opinion. Why are you trying to say that she should be killed and like sent a pipe bomb in the mail and shit? Like, people are really, really peaking because of that, because it's like, that's the opposite of keeping calm and carrying on. Yeah. She looks like a girly girl with spacer earrings and ugly glasses. Like, I'm so cool and hip. Normies still believe puberty blockers are harmless because they haven't thought about it at all. They haven't even considered for a second what a puberty blocker actually is, what blocking puberty actually means. Like, they have no friggin' idea. I am a young earth creationist. Not a sex creation, not a young earth sex creationist, not a genderist, but like a religious person who believes that the earth is 6,000 years old and that humans and dinosaurs cohabitated the earth together. Convince me that TikTok is full of groomers. Yes, Jonah, that's exactly what it is. It's full of older men trying to get young girls to do inappropriate dances to songs with lyrics that they don't understand, that are really explicit. I mean, Charlie Demilio, do you think there's actually like 100 million children following her? All she does is dances. It's in crop tops and sometimes in bathing suits to very sexually explicit songs. She is famous because pedophiles like her a lot, and they'll very quickly get over her when she ages out of their age bracket. I don't deal well with men trying to tell me what I can and can't say. No, what happened in the Bible is what literally happened. God created the earth in 7 days. Adam and Eve, and all of that is 100% factually, scientifically correct. Eugenics has never been progressive. I think gay males need to have their own movement, and they can definitely have conversations and collaborate with ours. But I still think that the movements are separate, and we want different things. And well, like, there's common goals, but like, we have different lives, we have different experiences, we have different biology, so we need different movements for our own interests, you know. Sam and Blaire are both incredibly homophobic gay men. Like, they really, really hate the fact that they're gay men. They find it disgusting. They're disgusted with themselves, and that's why they transitioned and got the surgeries and stuff, is because they're disgusted with the idea of them being with a man looking like a man, because they're homophobes, and they never got therapy to deal with that. Faggot slur. Jazz Jennings might have brain damage from puberty blockers. I'm sure that Jazz Jennings is intellectually and emotionally stunted to the age that he was when they gave him the blockers. I think that he has the emotional complexity and intellectual capacity of like an 11-year-old child, you know, an 11-year-old boy. Blaire is very open about how he's a biological man and how his boyfriend isn't straight because he's with him. So I disagree with that. Sophie, he's a him. He's a liar. You're lying on his behalf right now. I'm sorry, but you've been conned. You've been tricked. You've been emotionally manipulated into accepting that it's okay what he's done to himself by getting fake breasts, by getting his face bones shaved down, by getting his hairline cut and placed lower on his forehead. He's not a happy man. He's extremely, extremely unhappy. He hates himself a lot. And he knows he's a biological male. Then why doesn't he call himself him? Why doesn't he say his boyfriend is a homosexual? He says his boyfriend isn't straight. Well, his boyfriend is a homosexual. His fiance, they're supposed to be getting married at some point. Do you think that actually is going to happen? Do you think they're actually going to get married? Because from what I've seen, Joey, his fiance, is even more homophobic than Robert, which is Blaire's real name, the name his mother gave him. And his mother is very sad that her son is gone, that she now has to call him her daughter, and that all those memories are now replaced and erased, and she's not allowed to talk about them anymore. And I bet she's not even allowed to look at the photos. And who's she supposed to talk to? Is there a support group for her to go to talk about this? No. She's just called transphobic if she even mentions briefly that she's sad that her son committed such horrible self-harm against himself, sterilized himself. She'll never have grandkids. She's really sad. So Sophie, instead of feeling so sad for Robert, feel sad for his mother, because she's the real woman in this situation, and you're wasting all your empathy on a man pretending to be a woman. Which, again, imagine being his mother. What a mind fuck.